we are introducing this unique Shark Tank session. What we're doing here today, and I'll introduce myself as well, I'm Helen Watts, I'm the Executive Director of Student Energy, an NGO that supports over 50,000 young people around the world to develop their innovative ideas for a sustainable energy transition. So you know that this topic is very near and dear to my heart, but this session is going to be a unique one where we're actually inviting innovators who are doing work here and now to the stage to pitch their big ideas, what they're working on now, and their vision for what their project could look like if scaled. And we will actually award a winner of this process who will receive a comprehensive package of mentorship and supports for their project. Ultimately, this is a little bit less competitive and cutthroat than your traditional Shark Tank style pitch. We're, of course, a community here, and this is really about empowering and amplifying the incredible work that's happening around the world. The projects that we're going to see here today range from Honduras to Nigeria to right here in Barbados, so we're super excited to introduce them to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, energy poverty is real. Am I preaching to the choir? Good. So to tackle this, I founded Vector Energy to leverage the impact of decentralized solar for households and businesses beyond just solar lamps. And we've been able to reach about 150 customers over the past year. But we realized that this wasn't enough to, fast track or accelerate the transition that we need. And so we started to think of how we could do it best. And essentially, we came up with scalable finance to be able to fast track clean energy deployment. I would like to introduce Ecowise to you today. And what Ecowise is Africa's first end-to-end platform to streamline and monetize environmental credits, unlocking finance through third-party marketplace to scale clean energy by 2030. And why is this important? If you look at today's reality, which is stark, you would realize that clean energy is still an afterthought in Nigeria and most of Africa. And the statistics don't lie. It's 6 million Nigerians lack access to electricity, it stalls progress, it stalls opportunity, and this is also costing the economy about 26 billion annually, which is about 2% of Nigeria's GDP. And then we also have 40% of the income of 130 million poor Nigerians, spending that on dirty fuels, going to dirty fuels because they don't have access to, clean energy. And we all know that with energy access comes productivity, but it's still like a barrier in Nigeria. And we are also seeing new frontiers, such as digital trade exports being stifled as a result of lack of electricity infrastructure. So I put it to you today that energy access is fundamental to development, but for us to be able to do that, we need the finance. And where is this finance? Where is this funding going to come from? Where's this new money going to come from? Ladies and gentlemen, I know how that can happen. And leveraging Ecowise, which is an advanced digital platform, we connect clean energy developers to third-party marketplace to be able to sell the real-time credits that they've generated, and then they can use that as additional revenue to make solar cheaper for their end users or connect more people to solar. And how does it work? It's very simple. Ecowise is a pre-engineered hardware. You connect it to existing or new solar mini-grids. The data collected real-time is sent to the cloud, verified real-time, and in 24 hours, the credits are converted into funding that flows back to the developer. I want to share a bit on what Ecowise value chain is. When you talk about environmental commodities, the commodities or the relevance of the commodities itself has been challenged based on data integrity, transparency, and accountability. And Ecowise actually solves all of this so that the funding can go to where it's needed the most, and it can as well be tracked. I call this the empowerment cycle, the Ecowise empowerment cycle. As you can see, the the hardware, Ecowise hardware is connected, the credits are converted, the funds flow back to the solar developers, which also helps 86 million Nigerians get access to cheaper electricity. And then on the other end, you see Ecowise de-risking traditional finance for solar developers, because if they're able to show additional revenue, it actually improves the bankability of the solar project. And why does Ecowise make sense? If we look at the current solar capacity for Nigeria, which is about less than 1 gigawatt, it would mean that there's an opportunity of $39 million per year. And this could essentially help to unlock 13% of finance needed to reach Nigeria's 10 gigawatt solar target. I call this the Ecowise prosperity mapping because everyone has a share of prosperity. If you talk about solar developers, they can make up to $30,000 in 5 years if you have a 50 kilowatt peak system, for example, just from the credit sales. And obviously, this kind of like helps to reiterate the lucrativeness of that, and they can also demonstrate to traditional financiers that they're able. When it comes to users, through the scenario modeling that we've done, we've realized that it could reduce energy tariffs by 30%. And of course, solar developers are motivated to go to rural communities who are the ones actually lacking electricity to deploy, because data is now the asset. And when it comes to the SDGs, we see 90 units of additional solar mini-grids coming online, and that equivalently avoiding about 2 million tons of electricity. Carbon dioxide equivalent. And now to new frontiers. We are very familiar with AI, ML, the data centers. We need electricity infrastructure to be able, for Africa or Nigeria to start with, to be able to deliver that. And looking at Nigeria projected to becoming the 5th largest economy, there's just so much that we need to do with electricity. In terms of innovation, because right now we have the prototype, it has been patented. We've received support from the likes of SEforALL, Innovate Hub in Nigeria. In terms of having to push it to the next level, we do need finance, innovation, R&D, which is pretty much abysmal in Nigeria. And we started to look for creative ways to raise that funding for research and development to push us in the next 12 months into the market, starting with 50 solar developers. And if we had a blank check, really, we would use that money to sort of commercialize our current prototype, basically ensure the technology and commercial readiness of Ecowise as soon as possible, possibly in the next 24 months. Just to round off, I believe that energy access is not just that commodity in itself, it's the maximization of potentials, and that's what we are taking, that unconventional route to deploy scalable finance to enhance clean energy deployment. Thank you so much.
How do you align the demand to match with the supply? So could you tell us, who's going to be buying these credits? Would you already have an offtake agreement with them? Will they have verified the profile of the type of developments that they would expect to see on the platform? How does this work? Is there security? Will it be long-term? Is it a spot market? So how do you then guarantee also for the developers on the platform that they will actually have a marketplace to sell this? And then the second part is, what's your revenue model? What's in this for you?
Okay, super. Thank you very much. So my 9 to 5 is working as a sustainability manager in aerospace. And interestingly, for aviation to be able to decarbonize by 2050, it has to do with a lot of offsets. So where will the carbon credits, or where will the credits come from, right? But then again, you need high quality credits. And this is where, we can plug Ecowise credits into that system. And aviation is not the only hard-to-abate sector that would need offset. So there's a ready market. People are willing to pay for this. We just need to, as Ecowise, start engagements with them. And the likes of South Porters, or who some sort of third-party marketplace can, support us. And there are a lot of platforms too that we can essentially push this in. But our first engagement, I know the sector that will quickly pick this up and use it. Now to the revenue model. 70% commission, 70% goes to the solar developers, 30% commission stays with us from the credit sales, and then we also, we've not quite decided whether to lease the Ecowise hardware or to sell it as a one-off. Well, we are still consolidating with our legal team to see which is best, based on the framework, for example, that I talked about, because we still want to maintain some sort of, some sort of control over certain parts of the innovation so that we're able to direct the funding to the people that need it the most, which is the end user.
Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Legena Henry, CEO and founder of Rum and Sargassum, which is a biofuel startup here in Barbados. And I'm also the lecturer for renewable energy at the University of the West Indies Cave Hill campus here in Barbados. And welcome all of you to Barbados. Okay, so you've been here in tropical paradise, but tropical paradise is in trouble. But we have a solution. I don't know how many of you have heard of Sargassum seaweed. About a year ago, there was all this news coverage about a giant blob heading to Florida, the size of blah, blah, blah. So basically, since 2011, large masses of Sargassum seaweed have come across the mid-Atlantic to coastlines, and I'll just go to the next slide and show you that. It's actually not just a Caribbean problem. So it starts, Sargassum actually starts on the coast, this pointer doesn't work so well. So it starts on the coast of West Africa. It comes across the Atlantic Ocean. It affects the northern parts of South America. It affects the whole Caribbean chain. It comes into Central America. It affects Florida. That was a picture early in the season. Eventually, it got to Florida. And so this is a global crisis, but we're working on it here in Barbados. And so I showed the picture, the crane beach, because, I mean, it's always beautiful to watch the crane, but that is Sargassum on the beach. And the sad thing is those empty chairs. Empty chairs in a hotel in Barbados is a problem for our economy and for many of the economies along those coastlines. We need tourists and benches. And so our solution at Rum and Sargassum is let's drive some cars on this seaweed. So I'll tell you a little more about that. All right. So in terms of the crisis, global coastlines face massive climate-driven sargassum landings every year, disrupting tourism, marine ecosystems, marine life, coastal livelihoods, fishers, etc. Another problem we're tackling at Rum and Sargassum is with tying it into the wastewater problem. So this island produces 1 million liters of rum distillery wastewater every day. And so, and this is not, wastewater is not unique to small islands and is not unique to Barbados. We've tested the solution in San Diego with bare wastewater, and we got good results too. So we're looking at we're saying there's a need for a circular solution around that influx. That is the whole of the fisheries coast on the south of Barbados, and that was taken July last summer. And so there are lots of beautiful sargassum solutions, people making face cosmetics, making fertilizers, etc. But those solutions come at this scale, but sargassum arrives at this scale. So we believe energy is the solution that meets it at the scale it's arriving. Drive the road traffic on it. All right. So on September 17th last year, we had Test Drive Zero, where we drove an electric car powered by Sargassum seaweed. That's the blue car at the front, and Nissan Leaf right here in Barbados in St. John. That's a few kilometers from my biogas pilot project. Behind it is a gasoline car fitted with a CNG kit, which could also drive on Sargassum. And so we're saying, let's take the Sargassum seaweed, co-digest it with anaerobic digestion in big biodigesters and produce energy before it lands on the beaches. And so we have a pilot plant in Barbados. Now, it's small. The yellow triangle is about 5 acres of land in the middle of the island. We put in a small digester on there, about the size of the one behind me in capacity. And the point of that is to drive 21 taxis on this gas, because they cover high kilometers every day. And so we're saying we're repurposing wastewater and making a transport solution with it. Another benefit, biogas is always coupled with agriculture. And so we have 5 acres because we're taking the digestate from the biodigester to fertilize agricultural soil. All right. This solution, if it's scaled up in Barbados to 100,000 drivers like me, we could avoid 17 million tons of carbon dioxide emissions equivalent in the lifetime of the solution. So how long does a Barbadian keep a car? So we put those numbers in, we put the numbers in how much energy does road traffic use, how much emissions, etc. We halving the cost of fuel to drivers. And so a taxi driver would have half of his fuel bill every month driving on our fuel because it's made from local waste and a feedstock that's coming to us from nature. It boosts resilience in tourism. So there are times in Barbados where you find the South Coast beaches struggling to keep the tourists there, and people kind of move off to the West Coast beaches because of the Sargassum, things like that. So it does turn that around, and then it's aligned to national policy. We all have our NDCs from the Paris Agreement, and we all have levels of renewability that we want to achieve by 2030. For Barbados, that's 100% renewable by 2030. Our team, we've innovated for over 4 years. We have over 500 successful lab experiments. We have over 400,000 data points. We succeeded to do test drive 0 last year. We have an international patent for biogas production process. Our team has expertise in entrepreneurship, renewable energy. I'm a mechanical engineer. We have analysts on the team, people who are skilled in policy and regulatory landscape. We are comprised of Caribbean nationals primarily, so we're local. But we all have top degrees from some of the best schools around the US. One of my team members went to Harvard. We have a Yale. I'm an MIT graduate. We have another MIT graduate on the team. And we have strong ties with our local University of the West Indies. In terms of our ask, our investment opportunity today, so we have this bridge, a CNG acquisition, customer acquisition bridge, where we want to sell CNG to cars. So to create a market for the biogas we want to put in cars, we will purchase and resell natural gas, regular natural gas, from National Petroleum Corporation in Barbados. All the fixed assets, including the CNG kits, the mobile refueling units, they'll all seamlessly transition to our renewable natural gas when we scale up our biogas production. But this helps us to get on the way there. One ZR, which is the public transport in Barbados, purchases $250 of gasoline every day. We will sell them for $159, the same amount of fuel. And so lots of them are interested and have joined our list as potential customers. We are looking for 1.2 million. We actually have term sheets from 2 commercial banks right now for $1.2 million debt financing for this bridge. But we're looking for $500,000 in equity, which will be used to purchase equipment and cover startup costs, licenses, leases, bonds. And you can see there, it will be profitable. Sargassum is not just an environmental disaster, it's an untapped resource, fueling the future of energy and agriculture. Let's build it together. Thank you.
I like the fact it's a win-win between the environment and the customer, the driver. You're saving the driver money, and you're avoiding emissions and environmental challenge for the economy. The one question I have is generally with anaerobic digestion, quite often the challenge is, as you try to scale, you have heterogeneous input stock, right? So how do you guarantee the yield? So how do the economics work for you? I think that's one. Just how do you make sure that you don't have one base case where it has a certain feedstock and actually a different answer? The second one is your feedstock also is probably seasonal and not as consistent. It's not, how do you ensure, again, that you have steady supply throughout the year? Because otherwise you have low utilization and the economics might be changed. So for me, it's more on that feedstock, heterogeneous feedstock, consistency, and then both in terms of time and in terms of quality. And what's the tolerance level you can have in your ADs?
So for the past 4 years, we've been testing different feedstocks in the island. And we've been running an anaerobic digester. So test drive 0, we use gas from one of our long-term test digesters. We've not just tested rum wastewater with Sargassum, we've tested different kinds of wastewater and many other kinds of invasive biofuel feedstocks. So this is based on lab expertise. So with anaerobic digestion, our expectation is we'll continually be testing our feedstocks. So that is in terms of the seasonal feedstock of sargassum, because it comes sometimes of the year, and sometimes we have beautiful clear beaches, no sargassum. So my other answer to it is this. The Americans love the idea of sargassum, and they've put millions into understanding how to farm it because they're researching it as a SAF, a sustainable aviation fuel for war. And so they're going after it. I think if we sit down in the Caribbean and say, it'll come sometimes, it won't come sometimes, so it's too hard, and that we let the go-getters in the continent right next to us go out there and farm it in our exclusive economic zones and succeed at it is not the approach. I think our approach is we've gone out, we've produced the biogas, and now we've been tinkering and figuring out how does it stay sustainable. But we've also seen the results of these American experiments where they've successfully grown it long term. I think the ocean has demonstrated to us since 2011 that it could produce sargassum and in massive amounts. It is our job as innovators in the region, in the Caribbean, to figure it out. How does it work in our space and in our setting? But it's not a resource. I mean, it will be a challenge. It's not going to be easy, but it's not impossible to get it to work for us long term.
Hello, good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here in front of you. Thanks for having me here today. My name is Paola Rodriguez. I'm a logistics engineer. I'm a stockholder and general manager at Soluz Honduras. Soluz Honduras is an impact enterprise founded in Honduras in 1994. Throughout these 31 years, we have served and installed thousands of systems, mainly in rural areas, with rural families that still have no access to electricity. Honduras is 1/3 of Central America. We are 10 million Hondurans. Our population is roughly mestizos, indigenous, and Afro-Caribbean, and our economy is primarily based on agriculture and textiles. We got really good coffee, so I hope sometimes you have the pleasure to have it. The problems we have is in urban areas, we do have electricity, but we constantly face frequent power outages, and the price of electricity is it's high. While in rural areas, Honduras has 40% of our population live in rural areas, and out of that percentage, 30% of it still doesn't have electricity. That's roughly 1.2 million people. So the solution Soluz is offering is, first, for the urban areas, we're offering grid-tied systems that allows customers to reduce their electric bill, and also backup systems so they can have electricity during power outages. But my focus today is what we're doing on the off-grid side of things. We're offering solutions first for households, in which we are selling sunken plug-and-play kits, which are like these sunken kits that allows you to have 3 spotlights in your home and charge your phones. We're also selling sun dancer freezers. These are sold in small stores or pulperias, how we call them, mainly to women. Throughout the years we have been selling freezers. We have sold hundreds of them, especially to women in these rural areas. We're also working on social institutions, installing systems in schools, mainly for lighting and also so they can use their computers. All these products can be financed through Kiva. We have an alliance with them, so that gives our customers a better opportunity to acquire these systems. So what we understood from the market is, since we were working in rural communities, whenever we went there and sell them a system, maybe a 20% of the community could only acquire a system by paying cash. So we started using microfinance in it. So when we started mixing credit into our math, we noticed that from a 60 to a 75% of the customers were able to acquire, but we were still leaving behind this small percentage of families that still didn't have a way to get a system, didn't have a way to light their homes. These people are still lighting their homes with candles, kerosene lamps, and wood. So we decided that we would also need to mix subsidy into this solution. So once we started using pay-go kits and subsidy, we were able to reach that 25 or 40% of families that still didn't have access to electricity. How we did it, this is our model. So we are working with sponsors. Sponsors can be private companies, personal, like whoever is in this room and wants to do it, to donate money. We're asking for $100 per household. This money goes to a 501c3 partner that actually allows us to receive the money in Honduras. Once we have the money, $50 are used for logistics costs, which will be the cost of acquiring a customer as well. We're talking, these families are located in real, isolated rural areas of the country. You have to get there not just by car, sometimes you can get there by horse, and other times you have to walk several hours just to get to their communities. So there is a customer acquisition to that. And the other $50 are used as a result-based funding. So now these customers have a better opportunity to get a system. They don't have to pay the full amount, but now they have a discount to it. On the same time, Soluz, we're purchasing solar kits. We're partnered with Sunkin, which they sell pay-go kits. And at the same time, we're partnered with Kiva, whom we have a credit line of $200,000 right now. So mixing both products, mixing Kiva, we're able to offer our customers a system in which they already got a subsidy, they can now be financed, and they can pay in a period of 6 to 18 months. So that as well allows our customers that for the first time they can have electricity at Tier 1 and Tier 2, something that actually changes their lives from what they were before. We have an impact. This is a picture of a small part of Honduras. Every yellow dot represents a household we have installed a system. If we were to zoom in into the map, we would see that by this year, we have installed 850 systems, a little bit more. Systems to customers like the one that appears in the picture. So we're right now on a pilot phase. We are completing 1,000 customer pilot phase, to which we have already reached to 850 customers. We're almost getting there. Our next phase is to scale to 5,000 customers. Remember, there are 1.2 million customers still that need these products. This business can be adapted to other economies with similar characteristics in other countries that can also have that are facing these energy access challenges. And our Universal Access Program is also currently being used with planning of operations in the Pacific Islands. So this is something that can be done in other places. So my financing requirement, and what I'm asking for everyone in this room, is to ensure long-term scalability and financial stability of our business model, we require working capital. We need $200,000. This in-depth financing. We're seeking a 5-year term, low interest. For this money is going to be used to buy bulk purchases of Sunkin products. We're getting products from China all the way to Honduras. So the more products we can get in one container or more, it's cheaper once they get to our warehouse. Also, we are requesting $300,000 in customer credit. Right now, we're working with Kiva. We already have $200,000. We're going to be getting $100,000. We're almost there. And we're also seeking for $500,000 for result-based funding. This money is going to help us get to the 5,000 homes that we're currently trying to get under our second phase. And we're not just ending on the 5,000 more customers. Once we get there, we're working on more until we close the gap of electricity in Honduras. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Paola.
I think it's a fantastic model. What's your 5-year plan for this? So 5,000 units, and then what?
Our 5-year plans for now is the 5,000, but we can, if we do it in less time, we're just gonna continue adding 5,000 and 5,000 more. Our plan today is also like make the group bigger. We're working in a specific area of Honduras. We can replicate it to another area, so grow, and at that same time get to the 1.2 if possible.
I think we'll do a bit of a drum roll session here as we announce the winner. I mean, you're all winners, but we do have one winner today who is going to be receiving some dedicated mentorship from Light Rock, and we're really excited to announce this winner. If you could all join me.
I mean, we were very excited by all three of you. pretty amazing ideas, lots of potential. At the end of the day, we had to come down to which options we thought. We could see the feasibility of the idea, we could see the scalability, we could see the sustainability and the much broader applicability. And then really in terms of sustainability was really how long do we think the solution will last for? So we had a unanimous view, and without prejudice to being in a paradise city, our top choice was Dr. Henry's initiative. It's not because we are being hosted by Barbados. It's really because we see a solution that actually is globally applicable, has quite a lot of traction, does have a very strong team around it, and is already gone past certain important milestones. But congratulations to Dr. Henry and the team.